Hi everyone, it's good to be with you again. I'm sure that a lot of you know that about 3 weeks ago I had hip revision surgery. So I've been kind of laying low a little bit to heal, and I know that you've been praying for me and I really appreciate that. But I'm really happy to be back with you to share the recording of this week's blog. So the name of the blog this week is called How Can I Be a Perfect Soulmate of Love When I Feel Like I'm a Mess? What a great question, right? Many of us have felt that way one time or another. Those of us on a spiritual path believe from the very core of our beings that we are an infinite soul who can never die. Believing that there is an omnipotent and perfect energy made of only love that created us, we thus understand that our spiritual DNA is also perfect love. Therefore, we are organically and indisputably perfect divine love as well. We also trust completely that it is our soul that will continue to live on eternally once this incarnation is complete. And finally, we understand that in order to experience this mortal, finite life, we must have a physical body that will offer us a home for our soul during our time here. When we are birthed into this world from beyond the rainbows, the mystical realm, and the comfort and peace of our mother's womb, we are as close to heaven and our Creator as we may ever be during each incarnation. When we open our eyes and look around at our imperfect world, what do we see? Do we see darkness, divisiveness, harshness, or hate? No, we don't. We see only love. Why? Well, we see only love because love is all we know to be real. We feel overwhelming love because we expect to feel the love we so beautifully experienced in our true home. It is because as we have come to understand the world outside of us is merely a reflection of what exists within us. The only thing that exists inside of us is love. So it is not possible to see anything else. Why is it then when we hold a beautiful infant babe in our arms and look into their eyes, we are overwhelmed by the miraculous innocence of their transcendent love? In a moment of connection offered through the eyes of truth, unity, and peace, when expressed through a newborn soul, we ourselves are reborn. It may last for only a moment, but in that instant, we have an opportunity to glimpse a far-off memory of our true perfection and immortal love. So why is it so hard to retain those memories and hold fast to our true nature? Why must we struggle and suffer in order to remember who we are and why we came here? The answer to that question is truly a mystery for the ages. That mysterious enigma seems to be an infirmity that has infected humanity almost since its inception millions of years ago. I am a human being, as we all are, during our time here. So I offer to you my insights from the perspective, both the perspective of a human who has unfortunately chosen many dark pathways of pain in my life, as well as a being of light and love. Most of us refer to our immortal nature as our soul. My ever diligent and compassionate soul has lifted me out of that darkness and back into the light of truth many times. In the beginning of life on the earth plane, both human and otherwise, I believe we were offered this magnificent world in order to participate in the spectacular creative process of God by finding new and beautiful ways to express our infinite love, which of course is the love of the magnificent infinite light of God. We are all energetically the same, meaning that we all are composed of nothing but divine love. However, our Creator, in His infinite wisdom and brilliance, gave each of us a unique configuration of that same love energy in order for us to convey our own individual expression of that one transcendent love. How cool is that? And it sounds good, right? And it was for a while, until somewhere in our midst we had a rogue soul who decided that he or she was better at this whole creative love thing. That individual started trying to prove that his or her way of loving was the best, and then judging those who didn't agree. Thus, the human ego was born, and the rest, as they say, is history. Now, the ego itself wasn't bad in and of itself. In fact, a confident ego is able to share with assuredness that it could help all of us be better if we learn from its unique perspective. However, the problems arose because some of us wanted to control and subdue others, forcing them to do things their way or suffer the consequences. What was once motivated by love transformed into something motivated by hate, judgment, divisiveness, and a love of power and control, rather than love for love's sake. The unified oneness of humanity began to seemingly, but not actually, break apart, and factions of human souls began to believe the illusion that they were better and more superior than others. The soft souls and innocents among us felt confused, alone, and they were kind of misguided by their skewed perception that they alone could change things by themselves and bring the world back to unity, a place of unity, acceptance, compassion, tolerance, and love. And those well-intentioned souls created communities. They believed that they alone had to answer they had the answer to our problems. Some of these communities or groups called themselves religions, like Catholicism, Judaism, Islam, Hindu, etc. And though their intentions were heartfelt and noble, they inadvertently created even more division, judgment, and intolerance. No wonder we sometimes feel like we're a mess. Our lives seem like an overgrown forest filled with signs urging us to take this path or take that one. We feel lost and alone as we try to find the right pathway that will lead us out of the darkness of illusion and into the light of truth and peace. Even if we have a life of financial abundance and power, a perfect marriage, a fantastic job, and a beautiful home, we may still have a feeling of emptiness and longing. Nothing we acquire here in this world brings us the intense joy and satisfaction we are looking for. Why? Well, I believe it is so because we're searching for the sublime and transcendent oneness that we remember from the moment we were birthed from the very heart of God. We know deep in our core how much we need and rely on one another in order to be strong, whole, and to feel purposeful and spiritually directed. Somewhere in the recesses of our spiritual memory bank, we hold the mystical, supernal connection to our Creator, who loves us in a way that is beyond what is possible here in this transient and mortal world. So, how do we climb out of the messy pit of tangled brambles and overgrown vines that are imprisoning us? It is really quite simple. With the support and assistance from our spiritual team of light, we can reconnect with our soul brothers and sisters. We can adamantly refuse to engage in the dark and divisive energy of hate, but instead rise above it. In that place of ascension and clarity, we can finally see the love within all of us and do our best to focus on that divine love. Our personal lives then become a constant and steadfast commitment to honor the divinity in all people And we don't have to allow the prickly people to contaminate our lives with their negativity by permitting them to infect our lives with their darkness. But instead, we can hold them in our hearts. We can pray for them and lift them up to the light of transformation and rebirth. From a larger perspective, we should not ignore the atrocities of the world, but we must refuse to be pulled into their harsh and destructive quagmire and repetitive loop of constant conflict and violence. Alternatively, we call upon and utilize our powerful energy of love and light. We can reach out to like-minded souls or light workers who are committed to leaving for our children and our grandchildren a better, more peaceful, loving world. As human souls, we are rather prone to making a mess of things every now and then. But sometimes that's the only way that we can learn our lessons and complete our work here on the earth plane. However, whether we're in the middle of one of those messy, confusing times, or one where we are at peace with our fallible humanness, our ever-changing lives, and the chaotic, confusing world, we are and will eternally be a perfect, immortal being of infinite love, brilliant light, and peace. So that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, it's been a little bit of a tough week getting it all together between the bouts of intense pain and trying to navigate through all that. But focusing on all of you and doing this work has helped me enormously to keep things in perspective. And I honestly feel your love. I feel your prayers. And I'm so grateful for that. So thank you again. And I hope everyone has a super spectacular week ahead. And I will see you next time. Namaste.